This is where the non-conference slate ends. Ohio State Marshall on Saturday at noon in the Horseshoe. That's tomorrow, and that's Andy Backstrom. That's Tim May. This is Spencer Holbrook, and we are going to talk about Ohio State Marshall with Andy. Bold prediction.
Loaded dice.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is kind of a cop-out because it's also going to factor into my score prediction, but I'm saying second straight shutout for this defense.
Woo!
And they had a shutout against Western Michigan. That was the first one since 2019. They also held Western Michigan to under 100 yards. I don't think I'm going to say that they'll hold Marshall under 100 yards, but they will get a shutout for the second game in a row.
Was your heart beating when the field goal went right, from Western Michigan? It can happen in a heartbeat, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
Pardon the pun. I'm recycling. I really am recycling. I got robbed last week because for the second straight week, I picked Ohio State to score on its first 4 offensive possessions. I didn't say score a touchdown, but score its first offensive possessions. And when they brought back that Quinshon, I think Quinshon Judkins is still running for, I guess it was a legitimate call out there on the edge, right? But they got the wrong player.
Yeah,
the officials did, because the officials just saw something and he called it, and he looked back behind him, and 13 was there instead of I think it was G. Scott who the call was really on, but was it? Because it called 13 who didn't touch anybody. I'm recycling that because this offense has that potential against a lot of the defenses is it going to face this season. It has the potential to score the first 4 times it has the ball, so I'm going with that final answer.
Okay, that's fine. You can keep recycling, Tim, as long as you want.
I recycle, man. I'm for the environment.
There you go. Jordan Hancock hasn't been really heard from because he's playing well, but he's just doing his job, so you don't really hear a lot from him. He's gonna have a pick 6 on Saturday because
that's
tips and overthrows, you got to get those.
that's specific though. That's specific.
It's fine. Marshall had a turnover against Virginia Tech. They didn't turn the ball over against Stony Brook, but Stony Brook doesn't count because Stony Brook sucks. I think
it is a riffling little stream.
I think this team is going to turn Marshall over. They prided themselves on turnovers in that first game. They didn't get any in the second game. They were not happy about it. You can't throw to the outside against this team because Davison Igbinosun uses the sideline as well as any corner I've seen, and forcing guys out and using it as that 12th man. Denzel Burke is obviously just very good, so you have to throw over the middle. When you throw over the middle, that's when tips and overthrows happen. Jordan Hancock can't be held down for so long.
Interesting, though, the explanation you gave there is interesting. You didn't pick Caleb Downs to have that pick 6.
Yeah, I think
based on the criteria you just set up.
I think it's going to be Jordan Hancock. Andy, offensive player of the game.
Carnell Tate. We've seen, like the last game, it was Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Ibuka both being near the top of the list for receiving yards. In the first game, it was Jeremiah Smith that kind of stole the show. I think Carnell Tate is going to have a bit more of a breakout game in the third game of the season here. I say he goes over 100 yards and has at least 1 touchdown in this game.
Travion Henderson is due. He's due for a big-time, long-time run. Travion Henderson, final answer. Offensive player of the game.
I'm going to go with Emeka Ibuka. I predicted this in the Monday column that I do, where I give out just a little early prediction. I think he's going to have a really...
You can't control yourself. You just got to get it out there early.
Yeah, well, I'd like to do one on Monday just to give people a little bit of a...
Taste.
Yeah, but like to get people excited. On Mondays, I do some questions for the offense, questions for the defense, something I liked, or something I like, something I dislike,
right,
and then a prediction. It's just a good way for me to start my week, and I hope that people like it. If you do like it, let me know in the comments because I appreciate the feedback on that column for sure. I think Emeka's going to play really well, and here's the deal. A touchdown called off the board in the first game. The second game, he has 98 yards, doesn't get a touchdown though. I think he's going to find the end zone at least once. Chip Kelly knows how to use him. They know what they're doing with this offense and setting things up, and I think, you can only show off the same shiny toy so many times, and I think Jeremiah Smith is really, really, really freaking good, and he can score on any play that Ohio State chooses to draw up for him. But you also want to keep that senior, not involved. He is involved. He had 98 yards the last time they were out, but get him in the end zone. There's got to be some sort of, this is the kind of game where you can reward a guy. He came back. He's now probably the number 2 receiver if we're being completely honest with ourselves and we're looking in the mirror. I think they're going to reward him on Saturday and get him a couple touchdowns. So I'm going to go with Emeka Ibuka. Defensive player of the game.
Well, look, Ryan Day was asked about Caleb Downs this week, if he can still play running back. They're focusing on him being the best safety in America. I think he'll look like the best safety in America because he'll have opportunities to. I think he will have an interception in this game. I think he'll have a takeaway there with that. I don't know if he'll score. I'm not going to go that far, but I do think he will have a takeaway in this game. I also think he'll be near the top of the list in total tackles. And again, sometimes the safeties are like, that's a bad thing because it's getting to the second, third level. But with how much they use him around the line of scrimmage, it can be a pretty good thing for him to be up there too.
You're yin, my yang, my brother. I don't know who you are. I don't think we're kin. I want to pick somebody from the front four. I'm going to pick JT Tuimoloau to go off in this game. That's my final answer. I mean, go off means have a dominating performance in some form or fashion where you go, wow, been waiting to see that for 2 games, although I think he's played extremely well the first 2 games. JT Tuimoloau was something spectacular along the way. Final answer.
Ohio State fans, let me tell you something about Rowback Activewear. There's only one way to describe Rowback: best fit, best feel. For those who aren't familiar with Rowback, they are completely changing the game with their incredibly comfortable activewear. Rowback just released their new game day collection, and it's awesome. With novel polo designs and clean hoodie and Q-zip designs for some of your favorite schools, it's definitely worth checking out. Nobody else on the market is pairing this level of custom designs with the quality of activewear. Rowback does it better. Rowback's everyday short are the perfect pairing as well. They are comfortable, have an elastic waistband, and great fabric that is made to have the appearance of a nice short, but the comfort of athletic shorts. Rowback is also proudly leading the NIL charge, having signed partnerships with college stars Jalen Milrow, the quarterback at Alabama, Quinn Ewers, quarterback at Texas, former Buckeye, and Ohio State safety Caleb Downs, one of your favorite players on the team. I know it. Among others, they're becoming the go-to brand for college athletes. They've got a lot of Ohio State stuff, the Blocko on some things, Ohio State logos all over those polos. Use the code Lettermen20 on rowback.com for a generous 20% off for all new customers through the end of the week. That's spelled RHOBACK.com. That's 20% off all performance polos, shorts, and more with the code Lettermen20. Go check it out. Rowback Activewear. Enter the code Lettermen20 for 20% off your first purchase from our friends over at Rowback. I've been rocking the Rowback hoodie for a long time. Come join the fun. You've been wanting Rowback. Now you've got a chance to get some Rowback and get the Ohio State logo on Rowback. Go to rowback.com, Lettermen20 for 20% off your first purchase from the folks over at Rowback.
Yeah, it probably is.
Were you going to pick him?
No, it's probably against a lot of things to pick one guy for bold prediction and another guy for defensive player of the game. But
no, it's not.
I mean, it's my show.
Yeah, you can pick the same guy.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Caden McDonald. That guy just looks different, man. He does. He looks different. He looks like one of those guys, and I've said this about a couple different guys for Ohio State this year. They look like the defensive line twos right now at Ohio State look like the twos that you saw from the 2021 and 2022 Georgia defensive line, where they just brought in a line change of defensive linemen. It is another wave. And you're like, where in the blank did they get that guy? Why isn't he starting? When you see 98 jog on the field, and I even think this still, and I think it's coming from like 94 Jason Moore, those guys just look different. They don't look normal. And they're the future of this line, but I think they're also Saturday night going to be the present. Ty Hamilton and Tyleik Williams, we know what they do. We don't need
TNT, they're dynamite.
We don't need to see them much against Marshall. So this is the last true opportunity. You know you're going to get those young guys a ton of reps. I think Caden McDonald's going to be in there for quite a long time. I think I'll go with him as the defensive player.
I finally wrote a story about Ty Hamilton from interviews from last week.
It's live right now on LettermenRow.com.
Yeah, and I know everybody's going to say, well, Jim Knowles said that last week about him being a cold-blooded
gentleman.
Yeah, gentleman. But you got to use that quote in any story you write about him, right? But it's interesting that on backing you up to a certain extent, it's interesting that Jim Knowles mentioned having those guys rise. He wasn't that all glowing about the next 2 guys off the bench.
I will be.
And I know, I'm saying.
Yeah.
So they want to see more from them too. Where do you get a better opportunity in a game like this? So I see where you're coming from.
Come on, Mr. Shutout. Let's hear it. What's the score prediction?
Yeah, I'm going 63-0.
Woo.
I think this will be the biggest beatdown
we
see. I think that they're coming off an off week, the improvement week as they call it. I think anytime Ohio State has a bye, you probably like what they're doing afterwards. I know last year it didn't go quite well after the Notre Dame game against Maryland. They only ran for 62 yards in that game. I don't think that'll be at all the case this time against Marshall. just as like we kind of thought going to the year that the non-conference slate would build to get harder and harder for Ohio State, I think they're just going to look more and more impressive. I don't think Marshall's maybe been as impressive, or just relatively, I guess, as non-con goes.
Yeah, they're still finding themselves.
I think they still have some work to do. So I'm going 63-0, and I think we'll see again the bench being emptied out and an opportunity for them to build some depth at quarterback as well. Tim, I know we've talked about that this week. I think this will be a good opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay in the 50s, man. I learned my lesson. I'm gonna go with 56 to. I'm gonna go 56 to 6. Yeah, 56 to 6. Final answer, just because I feel like this offense is going to keep scoring. It really came into its own last week. There was a lot involved there, including who you're playing. Everything's always relative to who you're playing, how well you do things on the front line. But I keep pointing out to people, what stands out about this football team more and more is its offensive line and its defensive line. The defensive line is proven commodity that's gotten better. The offensive line, especially getting Donovan Jackson back, not knocking anybody else. This is the first time you're going to see it in full plumage. Full plumage. And I think after Donovan Jackson gets his feet under him, he's going to play extremely well. Do I expect him to play the whole game? No, I do not. But I just think this running game, the tweaks, the new stuff that Chip Kelly has brought to the running game is going to pay dividends again, maybe in a bigger way in this game. Final answer.
Fellas, you know they build skyscrapers in Las Vegas, right?
Yes.
Because the folks in Vegas know something. It's going to be 48-9. Think Marshall's going to get 3 field goals. That takes it over, but it also puts it right on the number at 39. Just a exact right on the number. Some poor guy in Bucyrus or Hamilton, Ohio is going to get beat on the hook. He's going to be really angry about 4 o'clock, and that's okay, because that's for the degenerates out there. Gamble responsibly, guys. But for the degenerates out there, that's what they live for, is trying to beat that hook. I think Vegas knows something about this one, because I can't figure out why it's not a 48, 49 point spread. And so I've been sitting around looking at this all week, like, okay, where's Marshall? No, they don't. Where can they? No, they can't do that. Vegas got to know something. So I'm just going to go right on that number and make Ohio State have a 39-point win. So I'm going to go 48-9.
Well, I will say, the only opportunity for Marshall is to get Ohio State in the opening. Like, if they come out slow, like they did in the Akron game, they only had 17 first-half points. I mean, that takes my prediction off the board, really, and probably Tim's as well. But you know what? That's the thing, right?
You got to be in it to win it.
And I think that was a big difference for me week 1 to week 2. They came out firing. Will Howard was on target in week 2. I think week 1 they were a little slow. If they have a little bit of a sleepy start to the game coming off the improvement week, I'm sure they wouldn't like that. But I guess it's possible. So you never know.
By the way, you know why the Connor Stallions thing is not going away, like a lot of people would have liked for it to do, is because of your boys in Vegas. Imagine finding out that games were in some respects skunked, which is what happened there. I'm telling you, they're probably more involved in revealing this than almost anybody else in terms of getting this out in the open.
All I'm saying is they know something. Yeah. And when I see a line that I don't like,
I just wanted to throw that in there for the fun of it.
When I see a line I don't like and I can't make sense of it, I know that they know something that I don't. So Ohio State Marshall 48-9. And
maybe they're trying to make their money back from last week.
I picked 52-3 in the opener. It was 52-6. I picked 59-0, and in the second game it was 56-0. I've been so close. I've gotten texts from friends and family telling me to keep predicting these scores, and eventually I'm going to get one right. It's the 6th year on the beat, and I've never gotten one right. And damn it, this week's going to be it.
I picked 56-3 the last time, and that one field goal miss.
That's Tim May. That's Andy Backstrom. I'm Spencer Holbrook. I want this score prediction to be right. I'm going to get one right this year. We'll see if it's against Marshall. Please let it be against Marshall to take this agony away from me. Tim, Andy, Spencer, this has been Bold Predictions.
Wait a minute, aren't you the same guy that picked Jordan Hancock to take a pick back for a touchdown?
I'm talking about score predictions, not bold predictions.
I know, but I mean, that's going to warp the score a little bit, right? Like that this opening game.
It's part of the 48-9, Tim.
Okay.
Part of the 48-9. Tim.
2 field goals in there. I get you.
Tim, Andy, Spencer, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Subscribe to the YouTube channel below. Like the video. Come to LettermenRow.com. There's not much else to say. Come to LettermenRow.com. We'll see you guys over there.